The next prophecy in Genesis with symbolism involved is of Abraham and his seed. Genesis 22:17 and 18. That in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. The first meaning here was of Abraham's literal physical descendants, who down the line of Abraham's seed, Isaac, became the nation of Israel. They were multiplied as the stars of heaven, possessed the gate of their enemies, and the Old Testament does describe in ways that at times other nations were blessed by Israel. So at first there was a literal physical fulfillment of this prophecy. But the Bible makes clear that ultimately Jesus Christ was also the seed of Abraham, his descendant that was spoken of. He shall possess the gates of his enemies, and has, and by Jesus Christ, the seed of Abraham, the church has been multiplied, and all nations are being blessed. And so the second fulfillment is a spiritual one of Jesus Christ and the church. 2 Corinthians 11:22. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. Romans 9:6-8. Not as though the word of God hath taken none effect. For they are not all Israel which are of Israel, neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children. But in Isaac shall thy seed be called. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of God, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed. Galatians 3:16. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not, and to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is Christ. It seems there are some new things to be learned from this prophecy as well. Here we see that the exact same prophecy can have both a literal physical meaning that is more important at one time, which later switches to reveal it has a second spiritual meaning that is more important at a later time, showing that the importance of a literal or spiritual fulfillment can change from primary to secondary over time. Okay, in this prophecy, we had a literal physical meaning, which was from Isaac to Israel to Jesus. And Abraham's seed in Isaac leading to Israel, leading to Jesus, physically, literally. And that was more important at one time. But later, we see it revealed that this prophecy had a second spiritual meaning that became of more importance at a later time. And that was from Abraham, Abraham's seed being Jesus, and then Jesus to the church, to where we are also the children of the promise. So that secondary spiritual meaning became more important at a later time. So this shows us the importance of the literal or spiritual fulfillment of a prophecy can change from primary to secondary over time. Also, we can see that an earlier prophecy was given more specifics, narrowing it down. What do I mean? I'm talking about Jesus Christ would be the seed of the woman. But with this, we see that Jesus would also be the seed of Abraham. So we can see that an earlier prophecy was given more specifics, narrowing it down, merging two prophecies together, as now not only would the coming Messiah be the seed of the woman, but he would also have to be the seed of Abraham. And from this we can derive these 2 points. Number 11, the exact same prophecy can have both a literal physical meaning that is more important at one time, which later switches to reveal it has a second spiritual meaning that is more important at a later time, showing that the importance of a literal or spiritual fulfillment can change from primary to secondary over time. Number 12, later prophecies can merge with earlier ones, narrowing them down to be more specific. So, that is the end of covering the first 3 prophecies in Genesis of symbolism significance. it does seem that there was a third layer of information to be gleaned from Genesis. This information seems to have given wisdom that could be useful in understanding other prophecies in the Bible, deciphering them as the riddles that they are. We now seem to have solid Bible-based knowledge as to his ways regarding prophecy, how prophecy can function, and how the symbolism of prophecy works, and as to his ways of chronology and organization of his word and prophecy. This could be the wisdom that was mentioned as needed to understand Revelation 13:18 and certain prophecies of Daniel. So let's take a look at these 12 points all together. These 12 points are what the Holy Bible teaches in a self-evidential manner in Genesis. These are 1. Precedented biblical patterns of how God uses chronology and uses breaks in chronology to organize information in the Bible. 2. Precedented biblical patterns and characteristics of prophecies in the Bible, their symbolism and functions in relation to the written words, and the characteristics of their fulfillments. On chronology, the baseline or precedent is for Jesus to write in chronological order, but there are 3 exceptions. 1. Jesus likes to give chronological summaries and then go back and fill in important details. Even 20 verses of details might be expanded out from just 1 verse of summary. The markers between such sections may require a little logic and have to be deduced from context. 2. Jesus will put things in non-chronological order to show the importance of a cause-effect relationship or spiritual significance to something that follows. However, if he does so, there is an earlier marker of omission that can be derived from context, a beginning which is later filled in, an ending. 3. Events of good and evil running parallel over time may be overlaid, with one detailed and the other only receiving a summary, and this may be derived from contextual markers. The elements of these 3 exceptions can be mixed together to make new combinations, such as more detailed information is given on an earlier chronological summary, which is the first way, but it is written in such a way that it overlays a longer period of time, which is the third way, and markers are given for the beginning and end, which is the second way. Now, on the symbolism and functions of prophecy, 4. Need to look at the rest of the Bible to figure out symbolism. 5. Prophecies may have both a literal and or spiritual fulfillment. 6. Prophecies may be fulfilled in stages, some parts immediately, some in the near future, while the rest waits to be fulfilled in the far future. 7. Prophecies can be cyclic and are equally valid and real fulfillments in every fulfillment. 8. In cyclic prophecies, the same words can have different meanings in different fulfillments, but the relative symbolism of comparisons or actions represented between words is the same. 9. Once a cyclic prophecy has begun and started to be fulfilled in part, it can continue to be fulfilled in various ways until it is all fulfilled and can be fulfilled no more, like a fractal. 10. Prophecy can have a literal fulfillment both in the near future and also in the far future regarding 2 different things that are described by the same word, but this word having 2 different meanings referring to 2 different things. 11. The exact same prophecy can have both a literal physical meaning that is more important at one time, which later switches to reveal it has a second spiritual meaning that is more important at a later time, showing that the importance of a literal or spiritual fulfillment can change from primary to secondary over time. 12. Later prophecies can merge with earlier ones, narrowing them down to be more specific. So, is this wisdom? It is definitely something. Was Revelation hinting to a cryptographic key being needed to solve certain riddles? Did Revelation point to Proverbs and Proverbs to Genesis for us to find this? Well, it is there to find. Is this like a set of cryptographic ciphers or rules by which to use to solve riddles? Yes, it is. But it is also just noting self-evidential patterns of how God writes, organizing information in chronology, and a list of precedented rules, functions, and possibilities in prophecy derived from a detailed examination of fulfilled prophecies that, for the most part, have already been explained. We know that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and He is the ultimate author of the Bible and giver of prophecy to mankind. As God is consistent, if nothing else, these precedents should be a big help in interpreting and understanding Bible prophecy. My theories on Bible prophecy incorporate, follow, and are based on this biblical understanding. I am postulating with my theories that understanding prophecy essentially requires four-dimensional thinking and attempted understanding a more eternal perspective. God is eternal outside of time, seeing all of time at once, and is infinitely intelligent and speaks only true words, including describing only true symbolism. To visualize, it seems like he sees a timeline, a living, breathing timeline of all human history and all events, which are seen to happen all at the same time. And the Bible speaks the truth in Ecclesiastes 1:9. The thing that hath been is that which shall be, that which is done, that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. The same events do repeat in different ways. All prophecies, all prophecies, all prophecies should be considered as potentially cyclic. And in the case of cyclic prophecies, the words God has chosen in prophecies and their symbolism can be understood to be a description of a repeated pattern of events that God is able to see on the timeline of all time, an accurate description of the same events being repeated in different ways. In some cases, this could even be like a fractal. Known history itself is a fact, and as part of the equation serves as self-evidential confirmation of a fulfillment of a prophecy. Much of the intelligent, intentional design of reality and humanity shows that God tends to teach with a self-evidential teaching style. This establishes the biblical precedent that cyclic prophecies, as a description of repetitious events occurring over the course of time, can be confirmed self-evidentially to be intentionally taught by God as such, by examining the historical record of self-evidential repetitious events, confirming them. For example, if God sees Jerusalem will be destroyed 2 times in a way that is the same repeated pattern both times, then the words chosen of a prophecy of this event will match both of these 2 events in truth with the symbolic meaning of the words. God has chosen every word carefully so that these prophecies match in truth. But to see how the words match all fulfillments with more precise clarity, it is necessary to follow biblical understanding and rules of interpretation of prophecy, which are self-evidenced by the Bible, such as these 12 points: knowing his writing style and his ways. Doing so, cyclic prophecies can be understood to be words that in truth match both of the 2 instances of this example without contradiction. If it is true that Jerusalem is destroyed 2 times in ways that both fit the words of the prophecy of this, then it is true, and self-evidential confirmation of fulfillment of the prophecy. In doing such, it is clear that prophecy is not a case of either or, but a case of both and. Summarily, many of the prophecies of the Bible and the book of Revelation are essentially complex cryptographic puzzles with 4-dimensional themes interwoven across the Bible, requiring biblically self-evident deciphering rules to be used in order to solve the puzzle, to solve the riddle, to solve the enigma. This has biblical basis in that the Bible refers to them as riddles and as to mysteries or secrets. As such, my method is to use these 12 points as deciphering rules, keeping in mind prophecies can be cyclic. Then comparing historical events to the words of prophecy in order to eliminate which portions of prophecies have already had a fulfillment, to arrive at which portions yet need to be fulfilled, and further align and decipher them using these 12 points. So, I hope you have found this beneficial. You are welcome to read the prophecy studies on my website, which incorporate and follow and use these 12 rules.